Good morning, children. I hope you are enjoying your studies at home. We have completed majority of the chapter. The first topic which we discussed was the definition of tissues. Then we discussed, are plants and animals made of same type of tissues? We found that there are many differences and they are having different type of tissues. We discussed the reasons also, that why are they having different type of tissues. Then we discussed plant tissues, which are further divided into meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. If we talk about meristematic tissues, they are further divided into apical meristem, intercalary meristem, lateral meristem, depending on the location. Then we discussed its location and its function, right? Next, we discussed about the permanent tissue. Permanent tissues, the cells which lose the ability to divide and they take up a particular function, right? The types of permanent tissue we discussed: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissues are having further types: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma is further modified into two, that is chlorenchyma and arenchyma. Okay, so this much we have discussed. Here we discussed about collenchyma, what is the structure, location, it is in the corners, it provides flexibility to the plant. Then we discussed about sclerenchyma, it's a dead tissue, it is found in the husk of the coconut, okay, and it provides mechanical strength, it has a deposition of lignin. Then we discussed about the epidermis, right? Epidermal cells, we discussed about the stomata, what are the functions of stomata. Then we discussed here what is secondary growth, what will happen to the epithelial tissue when once a plant undergoes secondary growth. Then we discussed complex permanent tissue, the diagrams you can see in the textbook, all those diagrams are very important, all the label diagrams, please practice it well. Complex permanent tissue, which is divided into xylem and phloem. Xylem consists of four components, that is xylem tracheids, xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers. If I talk about phloem, it consists of sieve plates, companion cells, phloem parenchyma and phloem fibers. Then we discussed about the last topic, that is animal tissues. Animal tissues, four types: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue and nervous tissue. So we have already completed epithelial tissue, the types of epithelial tissue: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium when it is multi-layered. Then we discussed about connective tissue, which is having many types, which is having different types: blood, bone, cartilage, ligament, tendon, areolar connective tissue, adipose connective tissue, their function and location we have learnt. In today's class, we will talk about muscular tissue and nervous tissue. These are the last two topics which are left. Okay, children, now open your textbook. Yes, hurry up all of you. Page number 76. Let's read the last paragraph. Muscular tissue. Muscular tissue consists of elongated cells. All of you read along with me. Also called muscle fibers. This tissue is responsible for movement in our body. Muscles contain special proteins called contractile proteins which contract and relax to cause movement. Can you recollect and tell me here the name of the two proteins? I'll tell you here. The name of two protein is actin and myosin. The spelling is ACTIN, actin. Myosin is MYOSIN. I'm repeating it. ACTIN, actin. Myosin is MYOSIN. We can move some muscles by conscious will. Now here, if I talk about muscles, muscles always work in pairs. One point here, one pair of muscles is relaxing, other part of the muscle is contracting. This way we are able to lift objects. We have discussed this. Now muscles are of three types, right? But before moving to the three types, we will see the basic function of the muscles. Function: it is responsible for the movement in the body. What are the characteristics? Cells of muscular tissue are long and called muscle fibers. Muscles have special proteins called contractile proteins. Can you tell me the name of the contractile proteins? Yes, it is actin and myosin, which contract and relax to bring movement. Now these are the types of muscular tissue. Can you see here the diagram? Striated muscles, unstriated and cardiac. We'll study the structure of these muscles, we'll study the location and the function. Now striated, as the name suggests, it has striations. Can you see these striations in the diagram? It has many nucleus also. We'll find out why it is having many nucleus. Can you see unstriated in the diagram? These muscles here spindle shape, tapering ends are there. This is also known as smooth muscle cells, right? Third one is cardiac muscles, which is present in your heart only. Nowhere else you will find cardiac muscles, right? It is having nucleus. Can you see this is the junction? These are oblique bands, junction between adjacent cells. Can you see these black ones? Yes. Now here, if you see the shape of these muscles, it is different. Striated, it is having striations, and these are voluntary muscles. That means it is present in your hands and legs. It is present in your limbs. They are under your control, your will. Unstriated muscles, suppose it is present in your digestive system. They are involuntary muscles. They are not under your control. If you want to stop your digestion, can you stop it? No. Can you stop your respiration? No. Only for some seconds or for some minute, you can hold your breath, but you cannot stop it. Cardiac muscles here, these are also involuntary, and by when the fetus is formed in the womb, by that time it starts, and then till the person survives, they keep on contracting and relaxing. These are involuntary, they never get tired, right? Okay, moving on to the third slide, types of muscle tissue. The first one is striped or striated or skeletal or voluntary muscle fibers. You can see here they are also called striped or striated muscles, as they have light and dark bands. Now light and dark bands are of actin and myosin only. Okay, they have striations. They are called voluntary muscles as they move as per our will. They are also called skeletal muscles because they are attached to all bones with and help in movement. Now let's see the structure here. They are long, cylindrical shaped, unbranched cells. Children, here you are supposed to learn the differences between these three. There can be a question, differentiate on the basis of the diagram also. Differentiate muscle fibers on the basis of diagram. There can be one more question where you can differentiate on the basis of structure, location, working. Okay. So please remember this table and make in your notebook. Then multinucleated. Why it is multinucleated? Because the muscle fibers fuse. Many muscle cells are there. They fuse to form a long muscle fiber. That's why here one cell will have many nuclei. Previously they were having only one nuclei, but when they fuse to form a long muscle fiber, then they are having multinucleated condition. Fibers arranged in the form of bundles have dark and light bands. Then location, limbs, your arms and legs, tongue, body, face, neck. Working, they contract quickly but can't remain contracted for a long time because they get tired, they get fatigued. Then we have non-striated involuntary muscle fibers, which are present in your respiratory system, in your digestive system and so on. They are unstriped, non-striated muscles as they do not show light and dark bands. They are called involuntary as they do not move as per our will. They cannot move, they are not under our control. Can you see the shape? Spindle shaped cells, uninucleated. They are having only one nucleus. In striated muscles, we've studied that they are multinucleated. Coming back, fibers arranged in the form of sheets, dark and light bands absent. That means no striations. Then we have location, iris in your eye, ureters, bronchi of lungs, alimentary canal, that is your stomach wall. Okay, blood vessels. Working, contract slowly but can remain contracted for long. So don't get fatigued or tired. They remain, they contract slowly. But here they do not get tired. But yes, in diseased condition like, in the loose motions, in, maybe constipation here, these muscles here, they remain, in the same position. Then we have cardiac muscle fibers. structure in between striated and non-striated muscles fiber and are involuntary. These muscles show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout life and pump blood. If you see the structure, short cylinder shaped branch cells, uninucleated, fibers arranged in the form of network, and they have faint dark and light bands. Location only in the walls of heart, nowhere else you will find them. Okay, before the development of brain, the heart is developed. Okay, the heartbeat will be there. That is how doctors get to know that the baby is living, the embryo is living. Okay, now working contract quickly and rhythmically, therefore do not get fatigued or tired. Please draw the diagrams, practice well these diagrams. Okay, we have completed one topic, that is muscular tissue. Let's read the question now. Name the tissue responsible for movement. Yes, it is muscular tissue. What is the role of contractile protein in muscles? They help in contraction and relaxation, and the name of the contractile protein is actin and myosin. What is the specific function of cardiac muscles? You know it. Cardiac muscles or heart muscle cells are cylindrical, branched and uninucleate, and they never get tired. Since the fertilization takes place of a male gamete and the female gamete, okay, after few weeks, here it is going to form an embryo, and here the first organ which will develop is the heart, and from that time it starts till the person survives. Why are skeletal muscles known as striated muscles? Because they are present in your limbs, they have striations, they have dark and light bands. How do cardiac muscles resemble both striated and smooth muscle fibers? That you can find out what is the difference. Write two differences between the muscles present in limbs. That means they're talking about the skeletal muscles. Then wall of alimentary canal. That means they're talking about the smooth muscles. And heart. That means you're supposed to write the differences. Support your answer with the diagrams. In what way are the various muscle fibers different with respect to the number of nuclei? That also is mentioned in the previous slide. Please write that in the tabular form. Differences always ensure that you write in tabular form. Okay. Voluntary muscles are known as skeletal muscles because they are present in our limbs and they are under our control. It is under our will. You know, if you want to walk, if you want to use your hand for writing, that means you can think and then the action will be done. So it is under our control. Okay, moving on to the last topic, that is nervous tissue. Please all of you hold your book in your hand, page number 77. All cells possess the ability to respond to stimuli. However, cells of the nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. It takes 0.3 seconds. If the stimulus is there from hand to brain, it takes only 0.3 seconds. Okay. The cells of this tissue are called nerve cells or neurons. You can see in the diagram here, a neuron consists of a cell body with a nucleus and cytoplasm, from which long thin hair-like parts arise. These are the long thin hair-like parts which is known as dendrites. Each neuron has a single long part called the axon. Can you see in the diagram axon? Yes. And many short branched parts called dendrites. An individual nerve cell may be up to a meter long. Many nerve fibers bound together by connective tissue make up a nerve. Now come to the slide. Cells of nervous tissue are called nerve cells or neurons. Many nerve cells are bound by connective tissue to make a nerve. What is the function? See very nicely. It is being written here. Please copy it down. Function is a highly specialized tissue that help in transmitting stimuli from one place to other in the body. If there is temperature change, if the temperature drops down, you start shivering. Now, who sends the message to you that you should start shivering now? The body sends the message. The stimuli are there. These stimuli are sensed by our receptors, which are present on the skin. Okay, we have 5 sense organs, and then our body will start shivering to generate heat so that our normal body temperature can be maintained. It controls all activities of the body. Location, brain, spinal cord and nerves are made of nervous tissue. Let's see the structure. Its structure looks like a tree with branches coming out of it. A neuron has three parts. It's very important. A star-shaped body called cyton. Can you see in the center? It is also known as cell body, which has nucleus and cytoplasm. A single long part called axon, which carry messages away from the cyton. Short branched part called dendrites carry messages towards the cyton. Now here in the nervous tissue, it is always, in one direction. The message is being sent in one direction. Here this one neuron is there, then there is a gap here, nerve endings. Can you see the nerve endings? It is also called as axon terminal. It is also called as synaptic knobs. Now these bulb-like structures are synaptic knobs. There is a space called synapse, and then there is another neuron. Right? So here in the synaptic knob there are many synaptic vesicles. This you will study in your 10th standard, but still I am telling you, synaptic vesicles, and these synaptic vesicles have some chemicals. So once the message reaches, these chemicals are released in the gap. Are you getting my point? So when the message is being transferred through the neuron, it is in electrical way, and when it reaches to the gap, it is chemical. Now these chemicals will be sensed by the dendritic tip of another neuron, and then again the chemical message will be changed to electrical, chemical, electrical, chemical, and this is how they will continue. So yes, I hope children you have understood. Right, there are in-text questions also. Please do those in-text questions. Assignment, separate assignment, I won't be giving you. I've already given you many questions. Learn all those question answers, read the chapter thoroughly, practice all the diagrams, right, and be ready. Now next page here, there are a few questions. We'll discuss that now. Okay, so what we have learned, nerve impulses allow us to move our muscles when we want to, because the message should reach the muscles, right? The functional combination of nerve and muscular tissue is fundamental to most animals. This combination enables animals to move rapidly in response to stimuli. As I gave you the example of temperature, right? If temperature goes high, right, 45 degree, 50 degree Celsius, we start sweating. Why do we sweat? Why do we sweat? Who tells us that now we should start sweating? See here, temperature change is a stimuli, and our body will respond to it by lot of sweating. Why sweating? When sweating is there, it cools your body temperature. It brings your body temperature back to the normal, right? So shivering and sweating, these two are again response to stimuli. Okay, now recapitulation. The first question here is, name the tissue that transmits stimulus in the body. The answer is clear to you. It is nervous tissue. State the function of nerve cells. Yes, what is the function here? It helps in carrying the messages from one part of the body to other. It brings the information from outside to inside and gives it to the brain. Where do we find them? We find them in brain, we find them in spinal cord, we find them in the nerves, which is present all over the body. Question number 3. Explain structure of neuron with the help of a diagram. Now this is given on page number 77. Structure is given and diagram you can draw from page number 78. Okay children, we have completed the chapter.